Hi, and welcome to Inside CI podcast for the 9th of June 2026. I'm your host, Stuart Burgess, and with me, as always, is my co-host and birthday boy, Mr. Simon Gregory. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Much appreciated. How are you?
I am very, very good. How are you?
Yep, no, all good. Well, it's half term last week, so we had a nice time off with the family, and the weather was gorgeous. So, and you
did you stay in the UK or did you go abroad?
Didn't need to go abroad. It was 33, 35 degrees. So stayed here, and yes, had a lovely time with family. And you've been away, I hear.
Yeah, I sort of traded my photography skills with a certain Mr. Ian Morris to do some photographs of his family sort of apartment out in the French Alps in return for a little week stay with the family. So we just went over there during the half-term week, basically chilled out. You know, I still looked after Inside CI and HCA whilst I was out there, but, you know, reading a book on the balcony. My daughter's got her mock exams at the moment, so she was revising. But luckily, when we went down into the town, it was about 34 degrees. But then when you obviously went back up into the mountains, which is, I think it was about 270 meters above sea level, it was just a nice balmy 25 degrees. So
nice.
It wasn't sweltering.
Did you have some internet
up
there?
Sit on the balcony. Oh, yeah, actually, I've got to say, it's not 2.5 gig like I get here. But I think I did speed test it at some point. I think he was getting about 20 or 30. So it was enough to upload the videos that we've just put up of the CDA Tech Summit. But unlike them uploading in about 30 seconds here, they took about an hour and a half. So it wasn't the end of the world. And I did a Zoom call whilst I was out there. But no, it was just relaxing, chilling out, and just like trying to get away from the world for a few minutes. And I think we dodged a bullet because of the heat over here. I don't think I could have survived in this house with it being that hot.
It was pretty intense, but we were on the coast. It wasn't too bad. And then come here, and yeah, luckily we've got aircon. So whack the aircon on in the office and in the house, and yes, cooled down nicely.
Excellent. So what have you been up to apart from, so before you went away for half term, what have you been up to job wise?
Yeah, so before that, we are doing a bespoke media wall with a client who previously has dealt with us, and they've got a lovely cinema room in the end of the garden, basically. So it's a dedicated room that they've got in there. So it's all singing, all dancing, and they have a little extension in their house. So there's a bespoke media wall being built, and that's just going to have Samsung TV in there, so one of the new ones they've got coming out, and also some acoustic speakers, because he's got acoustic in the cinema room as well. So it's kind of a continuation from that, so you can watch normal TV, and then he wants to go and watch a movie he'll go into the cinema room. But that's a really nice kind of setup. We're just waiting for that all to be finished, and then all the speakers are there, so we're just waiting on the media wall to be built, and then it's all going to be behind fabric, and so that all the speakers will be hidden and the TV's going to be nicely reset. So a standard media wall, but yeah, that'd be a really nice little setup. It's only a 5. Is it 5? No, it's 3.1. So we couldn't really do 5.1, and we didn't really think it was necessary because, as I mentioned, he's got the cinema room at the bottom of the garden. So a nice sort of 3.1 system with some small acoustic speakers, centre, left, and right, and then 2 sub-2s. So 2 subs to give it a bit of a kick, and yeah, no, that would fill that room very nicely. It's kind of like an orangey room. It's got like a bit of glass to the right hand side, so it's on a bit of a wall, then he's got glass on the right hand side fully as another part of the wall. So we couldn't really put side speakers on the glass, no. But maybe some waterfall speakers would have worked quite well. Now we know people who do those, but yeah, so that's a nice little system we've got coming up as well. What about yourself?
So I mean, the integration wise, I've pretty much finished all the. Well, no, I have finished the project in Beckenham. So all of the walls have been done in Roddy's fabric. I can't remember if we said it on the last pod, but he came up with a genius idea of doing the ceiling. So that's sort of waiting now. I'm waiting on the integrator that we're working with, or the Crestron integrator that we're working with, and waiting for him to get involved with it again to do the projector and the screen and whatever, because he wants to be there when we're doing it. So my integration stuff has been pretty much non-existent, which is good because it's given me time to focus on inside CI and the HCA. But I've been to a couple of little events. I'll say little. We were at the Peerless Showcase at the Lord's Cricket Ground, which was really good insight into the more commercial side of our industry, because I feel that the commercial and residential side of our industry is definitely fusing together with, big format LED screens, maybe Dante and things like that. I think we're seeing a bit more of fusing between the two brands. So went up to that, the Lord's Cricket Ground, and then I've been putting up, and there should already be up, a podcast of interviews I did at the CDA Tech Summit in Edinburgh recently. And then literally as this podcast goes out, I'll be in Bristol doing some more videos, because we got the Bristol CDA Tech Summit today as you're listening to this. But the main thing was I was in London yesterday at the Chelsea Design Centre. Yes, I had to go to Chelsea. I had to go past that horrible football ground. But I went to the Chelsea Design Centre because Wow House 2026 is now officially open.
Nice.
It opened as we record today on the 2nd of June. And I was invited to the press morning because this year we've got quite a few integrators involved, and more importantly, we have CEDIA involved in it this year as a technology partner of the whole event.
Yeah, fantastic. About time too, but so they're key position to do that. So I've only seen obviously the concept art that's been going around. So is it the same as last year? Different, better? What's your thoughts?
So I was like, how are we going to top last year? Or how are they going to top last year? Because last year, to put it in context, I was up there last year doing some videos with Dagesh from Nucleus. He did one of the little rooms with, I think it was Alex Dealey, I think the designer's name was. This year he's involved again. This year they've done, I mean, the room is stunning. They've got a new designer. Apologies, I can't remember his name now, but they've done a full 28 speaker L-acoustics system in there, Iris system in there, or Hyris system in there.
Yeah, I saw Nick talking about that earlier. So that looked like a beautiful room, and all the speakers completely hidden as well, aren't they? So
yeah, it is. They've got like if anybody remembers the sort of circular sofas they used to have in the demo room, they've done this big sofa with a bit that moves out in the middle. I'll try and put a picture up because I've got loads of pictures. I'll try and get some pictures up on the video now, but basically what they've done is, in their room, is brilliant because they've sort of put a big screen in front of you which will play content. But then what Dagesh has done is, let's say for instance it's playing Dune, so it's playing Dune, but then what they've done is above them they've put, I think it was two 85-inch TVs on the ceiling, but then put it behind some fabric, some of Roddy's fabric. Then behind you, if you're sitting at it, there's another screen which looks like it's a window type of thing. And then they've worked with an artist to recreate the scenes. So if there's one scene where the designer's walking his dog, so what they've done on the ceiling, they've recreated a blue sky. And then behind you, they've recreated like a field. Then when you're watching Dune, the sky is like the sky you would have in Dune. And then behind you is the scene of a massive sort of dune with sand off of it. And it's not like fully immersive sort of like LED walls around you, but it just adds a little bit to the room and takes away from it being such a technology based room.
So it's not in your face as much as a video wall, but still gives you that immersive kind of feel. But I do think that will be the future, just giving you that more immersive feel with literally a video wall surrounding you. But that sounds a bit more discreet and a bit more Chelsea Harbour friendly.
Yeah, well, and that was it. It's very interior design. I mean, you can't really see anything. So Dagesh has done that room. Reiko have also been heavily involved across the project in a number of rooms doing lighting with John Cullen. You've also got James and at Home Play. He's got involved in, I think it was the kitchen with the lighting and the background audio. Again, I think John Cullen were involved in that. So there really is a lot of integrators and a lot of technology in this year's one, where last year it was like, if you didn't think of technology, you got a Bluetooth speaker to put in the corner. So it is, when I walked into it as part of the press day yesterday, honestly, I was like, how are they going to beat this? How are they going to beat this? And you sort of walk into the first room, and it was good. And then as you start walking into the Wow House this year, I mean, honestly, it put
Did you
the
go
wow
wow?
on Wow House. Yeah. Well, I actually said, oh my, but anyway, we won't say that word on a podcast. But no, I mean, it is good. I mean, and as you listen to this, it would have been open for a week. So it is open till the 2nd of July, I think. So
Yeah, I think so.
if you are an integrator, if you are a fan of interior design, if you just want to go out at the weekend with the wife, and you want to just go somewhere which just shows some really, really intricate design, and just, some, if you like watching location or grand designs, it's definitely somewhere you click on the link in the description of this podcast or this video. Sign up and go along, because it really is, it is wow. It really does put the wow in Wow House. It's amazing. But we are going to go up there, not as this goes out this coming weekend. I'm up there with Dagesh doing the 360 tour again, doing videos, recreating or trying to immortalize that room like we did for the one last year, which is still up as a 360. So no, that it is really good. And then the other thing that we've been involved in is Cedia have just released the size of the market survey, which is something they do periodically. So if you are an integrator, listen to this podcast, please click on the link in the description, or I'll put a QR code up on the screen now. If you are an integrator in business, in this industry, in the UK, I think it is only, go and complete the survey. It basically takes, I think it was about 10-15 minutes to complete. And it just asks you, like, out of 100%, what percentage are you doing of home cinema, of lighting, of multi-room audio, and bits and pieces like that. But it just helps integrators, it helps fellow professionals, and it also helps our distributors and manufacturers gauge what people are talking about buying and doing, so they can make sure that they're on the right path to help us integrate in more projects.
Yeah, it just I filled out the form the other day. I think it took about 15-20 minutes actually. It was a bit longer than I thought, but it was quite interesting trying to get the percentages right. So obviously you got to get to 100%. And at one point I was like 114%. I was like, oh, hang on, because that's 50%. I did 20% of that, a little bit of lighting, a little bit of Unify. Oh, hang on, that's only 4%, not 5%. But trying to work it out, it did say a rough estimate. So you don't have to be spot on, but yeah, that's quite a key aspect for doing that for Cedia. And the Wow House, how do you get tickets for the Wow House? Is a QR code you could to sign up for? Or?
So I'll put a link in the description, and I'll put a QR code up on the screen, which if you're watching this on a TV or whatever, just scan the QR code and it just goes straight through. But fundamentally, if you just search Design Centre or Chelsea Design Centre, or search Wow House 2026, it will take you to their website, and then you just register for tickets, and yeah, you just walk through. I think I think they limit the amount of people to go in it, so it's not like a home build and renovating show where it could be really crammed, or like a big sort of event like ISE. So I think they limited the amount of people that go through it. So I would say register early, and it's open, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Monday to Saturday and then closed on Sundays, because Sundays is the day where people go in and make changes, or people like me go in and do the media side of it, because then there's no one around.
Nice. I will have to get a ticket. I've not been back to Chelsea Harbour. I think I told you earlier that we should have a concession down there in like 2003, 2005. So I've not been there since. So we'd like to go down there and have a look. But so I think the guys have done an amazing job from what I can see and what you've just told me.
Yeah, I mean it is literally, considering it is there for a month and then it gets deconstructed, recycled, used. The kitchens get sold on. I mean, it is amazing to think of the amount of money and effort that goes into that. So, and yeah, it is a real wow Right. So what else have you been up to? You been up to anything else or?
So yeah, we've one of our first ever clients actually is due an upgrade. So his room it's literally gone through the whole family. So it's a room we did in 2009 when we first started Cinema Rooms Limited, and he described it as the best room in the house. If you could sleep in there, he would. So we've always used that phrase to promote what we do, and obviously the room that he had. So he's kind of gone off projectors. We had a JVC projector in there. I say it's pretty old. It's done its time. Kids have grown up, moved out. Dogs have moved in, kicked out. And he used to really like gaming, but obviously, as you know, with gaming, the older you get, the less time you get to do gaming. Unless your name's Stuart and you got a podcast that dedicated to gaming, you have to. So we're going to try and move away from projector and go for a larger TV screen. Now, larger TV screens, as we all know, are very expensive, and some of them still are. But so we're thinking about putting the new Hisense TV in there, 100-inch Hisense TV, which is only £3,500. They do a cheaper
Wow.
one, but I'm not sure of the quality. But for £3,500, we've already got the speakers. So depending if we use the speakers, we want to change that and have a fabric track system, we might remove those and maybe just do a sound bar, because he just wants to fall in love again with that room, was his exact words. So we want him to do that. I think a simple change of just changing the carpet, a bit of lick of paint or a fabric track system would really bring that room back to life. And then get one of the new Denon amplifiers that have just come out. Again, that's a nice little basic amplifier for about £1,000. Will give you a nice Dolby Atmos surround sound setup with a 100-inch Hisense TV, and away you go. So we're actually doing that very soon, so that would be a nice little project to do without going crazy.
This will make you laugh. So all of last week, I mean, so one of the things I was trying to do when I was out at Ian's was I was going to put a 50-inch Hisense TV up for him. The problem is we changed the car just recently, and I couldn't get said 50-inch TV in the new car, and our luggage and all this lot.
You could have got rid of your luggage, kick the wife's luggage out.
Not with two ladies in the car, no way. And also, we knew because it was obviously the French Alps, it was going to be expensive for food. So I did a massive Tesco shop before I left. So half of the boot was full of food. But so the whole week I spent playing games on my ROG gaming handheld machine or watching TV on a 32-inch TV. So when I came back on Saturday night and turned my 77-inch TV on, it was like, oh my God, how big is that TV? So all I'm going to say is if anybody out there has got a big TV, so 65, 77, 83 or something like that, and they're thinking of upgrading and they're thinking it's too small, go and stay somewhere for a week and just live with a 32-inch TV. I guarantee when you come back, you'll look at your old TV or your current TV and go, yeah, that's plenty big enough.
That's the cheapest upgrade I've ever heard.
It's brilliant, and you know me, I'm not shy of spending a few
No,
quid.
you're not.
But
You're not.
but no, but especially swapping the projector over in certain circumstances like that. Yes, swapping a projector over because large format TVs like the Hisense ones are not cheap, but they are so cheap compared to the 15, 20, 25,000 pound they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we might sort of go up a level to. I don't want to. When you say 100-inch TV, people are expecting hundreds of thousands and close to that, but obviously they've come down quite a lot. That might be from one extreme to the other. So I think we're going to start there and then see what the quality's like and see if it fits in the room, etc., etc. I think he's got about 110, 120-inch projector screen system at the moment. So big enough, but I don't want it to look, as you've just said, from a 32-inch to a 75-inch. We don't want it to go that small. So I think a 100-inch TV would work beautifully well in there, and yeah, he can fall in love with that room all over again. But that's a good way to upgrade with clients. Not if it's an older room, which they don't really use that much anymore because different various circumstances. It's a nice way to get back into that and upgrade a system, whether it's a projector or a large format TV.
Well, and even from so is this the one where we're looking at changing the fabric in as well?
Yeah, maybe he's got very nice wallpaper, so you might not want to do that, but we'll see what the state of all that is. So once we've worked out exactly what we do, but yeah, a simple fabric track system going around that room would finish it off nicely, and it will really complement the room with that and make it a simple upgrade, really.
Well, I mean, what I would say, as being an integrator or been an integrator for 20 years is that, certain things like fabric, if you did a cinema, I mean, I'm talking to one of my clients of the sort of the biggest job we ever did. I was talking to him today about some Lutron blinds, and and I even mentioned to him about changing the fabric in the room and he sort of looked at me and said, "Well, is that possible?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "All we do is remove the old fabric, we keep the exact same tracking, and then we just fabric it." So actually, in certain ways, it's easier than wallpaper because you don't have to spend a week with a steamer trying to get the old wallpaper off. We literally just pull the old fabric off. The places where we've re-edged or we've edged, we re-edge, and then we put the new fabric up. So
We've just done that actually with a client. Sorry, interrupting. With a client, went from a nice blue fabric, and a screen was in front of that, to a black fabric from Roddy from Cinema Build Systems. But yeah, that was fairly simple. But yeah, very black.
I think just look at some of the old jobs that you've done and just think, oh, can we upgrade the projector? Could we add something? I mean, if it's a certain level of install, can we add Mad VR? Could we update one of the, to the new Denon amplifiers or Trinov or something like that? So
Yep,
I
Trinov
think
big
if
time.
you
Yeah.
are if you are finding it, hard at the moment and jobs are drying up, I think, flip back the Rolodex, open the old diary up, and just call some of those old customers up and go back and do a service call, do some software upgrades, and get back in the door and just see if you can upgrade to a projector. Because I think upgrading some of the £25,000 projectors from 10 years ago, what you're getting at £25,000 10 years ago, you might be getting at £6,000 or £7,000 now. It's a little bit like cars. So and then also on the docket, you've got bullet point fixing amps exclamation mark.
Yes. So we obviously, I think I spoke to you on the last podcast about some garden audio we've been doing, and ants
Oh yeah,
attacking certain speakers and cabling and junction boxes. And the amplifier obviously had been outside in this outbuilding, so it was undercover and everything. But obviously, it gets pretty cold out there in the winter and pretty hot in the summer. But I got no light from it, so I brought it back to the office, put it on the bench, and I quite like doing that kind of thing. I've been doing that since I was in retail and since 1998, so I like to have a good look. But it's turning on okay. It's a Crix amplifier, power amplifier, 500 watt 2-channel power amplifier, so big beast. But yeah, couldn't get it working, so I took it all about, changed the fuses, because the guys at Indigo recommended doing that. And yeah, still got no sound out of it, but it was still turning on because I could hear it. There's no lights, and it was getting warm. So
right.
I spent the day trying to do that and get that working, but unfortunately, I failed miserably. So
It's
then, what
dead.
do? Do we? Because it's got a Sonos preamp, like a Connect, so it's old school kind of scenario. So do we upgrade to a Sonos amp, or do we upgrade to another power amplifier that's got the power to drive the outdoor garden speaker subsystem? So yeah, we're just waiting to do that, ready for summer. But yeah, I tried.
Well, all you can do is try and fix the problems. But yeah, sometimes the easiest solution or the best solution for the client is to get something new in there. And again, like we just said with the TVs and the projectors and that, there's so much choice out there now of bits and pieces you can get, which are relatively small form factor, all the way up to larger power amps. So
Yeah, it's a shame I couldn't fix it because I was going to try and give it to Together for Cinema. I'm giving back tech, so they could have used it for something powering some speakers, whether it's in the actual cinema room or some outdoor garden speakers or something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't do that. But it did. There was a little a webinar that Ian did the other day, which I think both of us were on, and it may give me a bit of a kick up the arse to add some stock that we've got lying around on the website. So we only added 2 items, but filling out the forms for that was very simple, very easy to do, and fairly quick. If they're not on there, then just create it. I got some stock photos. I think I took a photo of one item that I had up there, but it was only like a video kind of matrix thing for businesses that I put up there. And yeah, hopefully that helps the giving back tech.
As the year or so that I've been doing the videos for Ian, I mean, as we record this, I'm at one tomorrow in Luton, I think it is. But yeah, the giving back tech as taking those projectors out that maybe are still working, but the client wants an upgrade, rather than if the client doesn't want to sell it on eBay, or maybe just say to the client, look, you'll probably get 100 quid or 200 quid on eBay, but would you like to donate it to charity? Because we can give it to givingback.tech. I can list it as an integrator, and then any charities that might want a projector, stroke TV, stroke amplifier for their little media room or their little presentation area as a registered charity might benefit out it without having to spend any money out of the donations they get. So it is a great platform.
Yeah, I think if you tell clients that, then they're more than happy to do that, and sort of send them a link to the actual website, so they say you have done it. But yeah, no, I think it's a great thing to do. Especially upgrading projectors from like lamp to lasers, for instance, laser projectors. Then it's a good.
Well, especially
good
as you
thing.
can't really get the lamps anymore. Once they've gone because of the EU regulations. So
yeah, no more mercury.
It's a good opportunity, and we're going to get onto lamps in a minute. But before we get on to the news, we have been talking with the guys at AWE, because so from June the 30th to July the 1st, AWE are holding their 2026 Expo, which last year they didn't do it, but the year before and the year before that they did. So what they're going to be doing is over those 2 days, they're basically upgraded the AWE show apartment. And this year it features a new format. It's going to be small sessions like they did recently when I went to an October event. It's going to be live demonstration, hands-on access to the latest home cinema, lighting, networking, audio, and smart home solutions, plus direct time with industry experts and the brands who are there talking about their products. They always do an amazing lunch. So if you just want to go to Epsom for a lunch.
Is it going to be the hog roast, Stuart? If it's the hog roast, I'm going to be there.
I spoke to James at the summit, and he could not confirm nor deny that it was going to be a hog roast.
So you've got to go, and you have to find out on the day.
It's going to be street food in some way, but what I would say is, spaces are limited, so make sure you register early to get in it, because it's not a free-for-all. They are doing smallish sort of sessions and a whole day format, but only over the 2 days. So use the link on the screen now, use the link in the thingy, but register, and then keep an eye on AWE's website and communications you'll get from the team at AWE. But spaces are limited, so sign up and pop along. I mean, I go pretty much every year they do it, and it's always a fantastic event. They've always got, you've got Bowers, you've got, Denon, you've got Marantz, you've got URC, you've got Sony, you've got Optoma, you've got so many different brands that are there that it's a really good day. And also the representatives are there. So if you want to speak to Sony are there. If you want to speak to Panasonic are there. So, I've had some great conversations with them down the years. I've given them my feedback as an integrator, and I have seen that. When I think Panasonic did the speaker free top of the range TV a few years ago, a lot of that was because the integrators were saying, look, we want a 77-inch top of the range OLED with the master panel on it, but we don't want all the Atmos speakers around it because we install an Atmos cinema around it or Atmos surround sound around it. So that was as a result of people telling Panasonic to do that. So it's definitely worth registering.
Yeah, no, definitely worth registering and going. We've got fantastic facilities down there, and as you quite rightly mentioned, the reps, if you want to speak to a representative of that particular brand, they are there and they listen. We had a similar situation to you. Sony were there, and they had a great feature on their TVs, Sony. So when you press TV button, you could assign it to an HDMI input. This new range, when I was there last, did not do that. I was like, well, how do you get to the HDMI 1 to watch Sky or Virgin or whatever? You press TV and you go straight there. Oh, we've taken that off. Spoke to the Sony representative. The next incarnation of new model Sony TVs, it was back on there, and it still is today. So it just proves they listen.
Yeah, and it is. I think they do, and I think as an integrator, please do go to these events. When these distributors and manufacturers hold these events, please do go to them and the CEDIA Tech Summits, because you do get one-on-one time. As we record this, as I said, Bristol's on, and Bristol's a good tech summit to go to because it's not as busy as London. So you can have a 20-minute conversation with, Order Systems or with, 1AV or AWE or KEF or someone like that. So you can have a proper conversation where and give them your feedback and your views. Because as an integrator, if you don't go to these events and you don't let your views be known, things won't change. No one's going to know your opinion.
No.
So please register for it. Please go along on the 30th of June, 1st of July, and see some awesome tech, get an awesome lunch, and give some feedback to them.
Yeah, these things aren't cheap to put on, and the guys do it for you. So yeah, definitely sign up and head on over. You won't regret it.
Excellent. Right, so we're going to get onto the news now. But before we get onto the news, please comment, review, and subscribe to the podcast, the video, wherever you're watching this. Please leave us a comment. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps the podcast out. And Simon, before we get onto the news, if you've watched my gaming podcast, you'll know that I got myself a new toy. So now we have a jingle for the news. You ready? I have bought myself
it's like not the 9 o'clock news.
A sound machine. Yeah, by the way, that Ring doorbell sound is not mine. That's Simon's. But no, I now have a little. Yeah, I now have a little sound machine, so I could do my. Or I could do my. So we're fully sounded up now.
Beautiful sound effects, Stuart.
I could even get it wrong and forget which podcast I'm on and play the other podcast's theme tune. So, but obviously we don't want to do that. So, but right. So getting on to the news, your first story is, funnily enough, it's with your brand ambassador shirt on for Hisense.
It is. Well, basically, the World Cup is coming, as we know. Hence, I've gone World Cup crazy, got the shirt on, got the other bits and bobs surrounding me and getting ready for the World Cup, which is only, by the time this comes out, literally days away. So looking forward to that immensely. And obviously the best way to watch a game on the big screen is via a projector or a TV system. But most importantly at the moment is a projector to get that really big feel. So, projectors are big and bulky and black, or sometimes you can get them in white. There's some new cool Hisense laser TV projectors. There's one particularly called the XR10, which raises the bar as a 4K liquid-cooled long-throw laser projector, as the exact terminology that they use. But it's rather sexy. It's very small, in fact. I did write down how small it was. 292 by 272 millimeters. And it's only 213, was that height, do you reckon, or depth? One of those. So a really small projector, only weighs just over 10.5 kilograms as well. But it actually looks gold. It looks gold in nature. It can go up to. Do you know how many inches it can go up to? I want to give you a guess.
I do, because I looked at it, but surprise me.
300 inches. It can go up to, which is pretty impressive. So 100-inch, 200 and 300. I'm sure you can go in the middle somewhere, but it looks a rather sexy little projector. Nice and discreet. Obviously comes with a nice stand. Comes about £6,000, so not cheap. The only reason I know about this is because one of the distributors we deal with, Into AV, are doing that, and also a client wanted one for his garden. So we've specified this projector to put out in his garden. It might be a bit excessive, but putting one of those on a bed sheet, but it will look amazing because it is actually stupidly bright. But it's a really good little system.
I saw that it's 6,000 ANSI lumens, so that is a very bright little boy. And considering that. Is England's first match at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that? So
10 o'clock at night. Yeah. And yeah, it's very bright, as you say. It lasts, because it's laser, 25,000 hours, which, hey, is about 10 years, maybe a bit more. But 6,000 to 1 contrast ratio, HDR10, Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus, HLG as well, which is very important. That looks pretty impressive. So we've been specifying those, and that's a nice little projector that's just come out.
Yeah, and looking at the website, it's got the traditional type of apps that you would have built into it, but it's also got I'm gonna butcher this. It's Devilé. It's got Devilé sound in it. So
Devilé.
The French. Devilé French, so like what Alpine use in their cars, and I know for a few years when I was looking after Lerva in Harrods. They had a concession in Harrods. And I always used to go past. But no, I mean, it's a really cool looking thing. First of all, when I opened the web page up to look at it, I thought I was looking like a GoPro because the lens on the front of it was very reminiscent of like the big lens you get on an action camera, and it's sort of the same ratio. So it's sort of, when I looked at it, I thought, is that a GoPro, or is that a microwave? Is that a microwave? And then it was like, no, it's a projector.
It's a big old lens on there, that's for sure. But yeah, it's a extra large GoPro. Best way to describe it, in gold. If you're not watching and just listening.
So no, I think we're obviously right in the midst of it. We're going to start seeing more and more garden audio, garden video, especially say with the World Cup coming up, and hopefully if we've got the weather like I've got here today, which is nice and sunny all day apart from a little bit of rain this morning, people are going to be outside. There seems to be something very British and football about, as you say, putting up a bed sheet like during COVID, putting up a bed sheet, chucking a projector outside, or wheeling the TV out, and then just sitting outside in the garden and watching the football. But it does make me wonder how many noise complaints we're going to get this year with people cheering as England score a goal at 11 o'clock at night.
It's only every 4 years, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And then obviously the middle year is Euros, so it's a bit more on our time type of thing. So, right. So my next story is almost sort of following on from what I think we talked about in the last podcast, which was the Sony Bravia RGB TVs. So there's a news story up on guess which website it's on.
Inside CI.
It's on Inside CI website, written by Steve May.
Thanks, Steve.
It's Sony Bravia 9 II and Sony Bravia 7 II usher a true RGB TV era. So just reading from the article, Sony has expanded its cinema is coming home strategy with the launch of the first true RGB televisions, the flagship Bravia 9 II and the more accessible Bravia 7 II. The models feature next-generation RGB LED backlighting coupled with Sony's proprietary RGB Blacklight Master Pro technology, which independently controls red, green, and blue LEDs by precisely managing each primarily color to the source. Sony says the new TV achieves previously unseen color volumes with reduced blooming, improved gradients, and improved viewing from many multi-wide angles, and an even brighter living space experience. I mean, I've watched a couple. I mean, the full article, what Steve written, goes into a lot of details, including pricing and bits and pieces like that. But I've watched a few video. I think Vincent did a video on it, and I think maybe Linus Tech Dips did a video on it when they went out to Sony, and it was very, very interesting to watch just where this technology was going. I think they had a few TVs which they almost like just showed you the individual LEDs behind it, and showed you the brightness and the contrast and the picture, the quality these were given out. So it's going to be very interesting with these RGB TVs coming through and how they compare to, the other models we've got. Have you seen any of the videos sort of showcasing them?
Yeah, obviously we spoke about this a couple of podcasts ago and the technology behind that and what actually they're doing. So Sony actually did the first LCD TV in 2004, so they've got a good back record of this, and their philosophy is capture to display, as we know. So they've obviously from their cameras, and the same technology is in their professional monitor that they use, which I think is about £30,000, so pretty expensive. So they've tried to use the technology that's built into that and bring that to the mass market in the 7s and the 9s. So not cheap, but it is true RGB. So they have all the red, green, and blue chambers that actually change colour, rather than a sort of a blue light. So LCDs used to be a notorious blue light filter coming through, and depending on your eyesight, you had to turn the blue down if you were professionally getting that calibrated. The brightness levels are unbelievable. I was saying about that projector a minute ago. These TVs are up to 4,000 nits, which is very bright. Some say we're too bright. I think I told you a Sony OLED the other day, and compared to my old Sony OLED, it was almost too bright for me in his room. obviously you can turn it down and get it professionally calibrated. But at that brightness, that is really bright. I mean, the colors look phenomenal. It does look like a stunning TV. Does it replace OLED? Again, as we spoke in the last podcast, it is it will be more cost effective and will be cheaper to do that than OLED. So maybe they're going to get rid of those. There are no OLEDs this year for 2026 that Sony are bringing out. It's still the last year's model from what I can understand from their report. I've actually got a webinar tomorrow for the UK. As usual, we're quite behind the rest of the world. And I think all the YouTube videos you and I have been watching, it's a bit behind for the UK market. But we will find out a little bit more. But yeah, so no OLEDs from what I can understand. For the UK market 2026, they are pushing these true RGB color TVs.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the bottom of the article here, it was from an installation perspective, Sony has clearly targeted premium living spaces and dedicated media rooms. The Bravia 9 is available in 65, 75, 85, and 115-inch sizes, whilst the Bravia 7 spans from 50 through to 98 inches. Both employ a slim industrial design with textured bezels and discreet stand system. Pricing, as of the website, is Bravia 9 starts at £1 short, 3,500 for the 65, rising up to, which I don't think this is actually that bad. I know this sounds weird, but just shy of £23,000 for the 115-inch. I remember doing a 100-inch LED TV probably about 5 years ago, and that was about 15,000, 16,000 then. So to get this new technology for only £8,000 more, but it just does show how these prices are coming down. And then the Bravia 7 begins just £1 shy of 1,900 for the 50-inch and topping out at 7,000 for the 98-inch.
Yeah, they're good prices for the 7s. To say it's more. You still get the same technology, so true RGB in those TVs, but the 9s are the pinnacle. Does say they're not cheap. Was it 3,500? Was it the entry level 65 inches up?
I just moved it up. So 3,500 for the entry, for 3,500 for the Bravia 9 65-inch, and 1,900 for the Bravia 7 50-inch.
So does that replace their OLEDs? I assume it would do eventually. It will go to that market. But what is a shame, and as we know, it's from their background of doing the filming. It's the last one before they join next year, TCL.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah. No, that is very true.
So we know these TVs are captured to display. TCL would then take over that from next year and do distribution, and I would assume make their TVs for them.
Well, I mean, I had a word with, or a conversation with Sony, which was basically along the lines of, it's a joint venture between the two brands. So it's almost like, I know, it's almost like Cinema Rooms Limited and Immersive Cinema Rooms Limited setting up another company. So it's yes, they are sort of taking over it, but Sony are still heavily involved financially into it, and they are still very much involved in it. It's just like we see with, I mean, my wife's just bought a new car. It's a Volvo EX30. Yeah, it's a Volvo, but it's made in China as part of Volvo's parent company. So Volvo still oversee it, Volvo still make it, and it still is very much a Volvo, but it's just made by, I think it's Geely, I think it is, but it's just made by the French owners of Volvo, with Volvo overseeing it. So I'm hoping this is what Sony are going to do, which is TCL making it, but Sony are still going to oversee it and give it their rubber stamp in the same way as, you know, THX or ISF may look at a calibration of something. But talking of calibration, if you do want your TV calibrated, get in touch with our new HCA member, Ricky from Calibrate.
You need to press your button, Rich, Stuart, for clapping.
For clapping, hold on a second. New HCA member, Ricky from Calibrate. Does go on a little bit long, so I'll stop it. But yeah, Ricky, we've all known Ricky for years. Ricky does a lot of calibrating of projectors, of TVs, of amplification. We're using them on quite a few of our jobs, and so I know do a lot of other HCA members. So thank you to Ricky for jumping on board with the HCA, and any integrators listening to this who want a projector or TV or audio calibrated, I'll put Ricky's details in the link, and he might pay me a commission or pays membership, either way.
I doubt it.
So next story is about a remote control, and it's with you.
Yeah, so again, this all transpired from the previous client I spoke about, who's having the media wall and has a cinema room out the back of the garden. It's a unique prospect. It's called Remote 3 by Unfolded Cycle or Circle, Unfolded Circle.
Circle,
which, if you look at it, it looks like an Ava.
It looks like a remote control. It's got Ava stroke Control 4 stroke Savant.
It's got a bit of everything, which I quite
Neo,
like.
Was it Neo that Control 4
Neo,
bought?
yes.
Yeah.
So you combine all those remote controls together, you've got this Remote 3. I think they called it Meet. I'm not quite sure. But it uses AI. And that is the biggest buzzword, as we know, at the moment. So the client has told me more about this than I could possibly understand, because he's actually started programming it and he's using AI Home Assist. So basically you tell AI Home Assist, from what I understand, what you wanted to do. So turn projector on, turn TV on, turn the amp on, and that kind of stuff. And then upload it to this remote control from unfoldedcircle.com, and it will work. And away you go. You just turn the lights on and it will do all that. But it is more AI based. I think it's about $500 or euros, I think I saw. And once you add all the bits of it, the docking station and the cabling and that kind of thing. But it looks a rather sexy kind of remote control. And if you are into AI, like most people seem to be nowadays, it's a really good little project to get involved with and have a go at that.
Yeah, I mean, they've got it for pre-order on their website at 419 euros.
So yeah, so by the time you added everything up, I think it got to about 550 euros. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the same remote control that Seth was talking about on HomeTech.fm podcast. So it's very heavily reliant on Home Assistant.
Yes.
So and integration with Home Assistant products. So I would say it is one of those products where I mean, I've got someone who uses Home Assistant quite a lot and uses Apple HomeKit quite a lot. So I think if it's something that you are a bit of a tinkerer. I mean, I suppose the way I can sort of analogize it is maybe if you look at something like Zapiti or Kaleidoscope. If you're happy to take your DVD collection and burn it yourself, put it on a NAS and put it into a cupboard on a so it plays back through your Plex or through your Apple TV or something like that, then I think, in my opinion, some of these remote controls are like that. If you're more of a Kaleidoscope person where you just want to download it from a store, play it, and you don't want to mess around with ripping or things like that, then that's more of your your Crestron, your Control 4, your Elan and RTIs and play platforms like that. But it does look like it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to get my hands on one. And,
that's what I thought. To be fair, have a play. Whether reliability's there, I'm not too sure. How it can do time delays and that kind of stuff. We've all been there with remote controls, and you go to turn something on, it doesn't work because the time delay is not quite correct. So how that works, that'd be very interesting to see. If not, then obviously. Then stick with the manufacturers and the remote control guys that we know out there that work well and are reliable. So, but no, I thought it was quite a nice little product. And if you want a project, then go for this AI remote control. Look quite a sexy remote.
No, it does. It does look like a nice remote control, and as I say, it might be worth having a play with one and see what the customer support is like, just in case you do have an issue, because obviously for us as integrators, that is the key, is when it inevitably will go wrong, we want to be able to pick up the phone. I mean, we can pick up HDMI leads from AliExpress for peanuts, but when you put that HDMI lead in the client's wall and 5 years later that goes wrong, you've got no comeback for it. So
watch this space. I think
it will be interesting to see how it unfolds.
I like that.
Do you get it?
I
do. You get it?
I do.
Right. So the next story is we've had another big name in the industry move. So we have just had the announcement through yesterday as we record this that Ian, once of Envision and CYP, has now moved to Trinov Audio, which is a big move. He's moved there as residential sales and technical specialist, and moved to the fantastic team there. I mean, he's not new to Trinov. He dealt with and did Trinov training and supported Trinov and sold Trinov in his previous employment for years. So I mean that's a brilliant move. I spoke to David the day it was announced, and he was more than happy that Ian's come on board because with the launch of the CI and the new software rollout that we obviously discussed on our ISE video, they at Trinov are a busy company now. So to bring another experienced person in to help them and help the integrators is a win-win.
Yeah, no, it's a great acquisition for Trinov there, and saves David doing all the work. Because I think David's here, there, and everywhere, and obviously got their new showroom opening up as well later on this year in Paris. So Ian did my training with me, so got me to level 1 and level 2. So he's really on board. I think Mel is overjoyed that he's got a job. Now he's built his cinema room and he's out the house. So it's good news all around.
Yeah, and I think he was always very passionate about Trinov, and I mean, I didn't do my level 2 in the end because obviously moving more into this side of the world, I was like, well, shall I do it? And I think something cropped up, but I mean, I did level 1 with him and David, and he's been a fountain of knowledge. I think my first Trinov Altitude 32, I had both him and David at my client's house in Tunbridge Wells in Merton, and we were calibrating it, and they were running through the calibration, and and I think Ian's going to fit in really well to Trinov, and obviously, it's a product that I know he likes and he enjoys using. So yeah, many congratulations on your new job, mate, and we'll catch up on a podcast or something soon, and you can discuss how you're getting on there. Right, so the next story, or the last story, is just a quick one, but it's Denon expands X Series AVR line. Now, this is an article on the Inside CI website, so it's actually a very long article written, well, not hugely long, but it's actually a very interesting article written by Steve. Steve was invited out to Denon and in Japan, and they basically had a hands-on briefing and a hands-on day or two with these new amplifiers. So what Denon have done is, following on from the one that we talked about the other week, which was the AVR S980H, they've upgraded the brands that a lot of us use every day. So they've upgraded the 2800 to the 2900, and they've upgraded the 3800 to the 3900. So it's got a lot of new technology on it. It basically is also taking the software, or will take the software update from the HEOS, so you can utilize the HEOS systems within the receiver like we discussed on the S980. I mean, they've sort of focused on the 2900 and the 3900. I'm assuming there may well be a 4, 5, and a 6 at some point, but I mean, do you use Denon much? I mean, we've used them because they are a good price. They're a good integration level for us, not necessarily a starter system, but they give really good integration to control systems like Control 4 for me. They're touchwood, they're generally bulletproof, and they come with HEOS built in, Spotify, Q bars, tune in, AirPlay, and the 2900 starts at $899, with the 3900 started at $1,300.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Stuart. It's they're a great product, and really reliable. We actually specified one for a quote we did this week for a dedicated cinema or media room. Sorry, for £1,000 roughly, I think, plus VAT. For 2900. It's a 5.2 system, isn't it? I believe so. Hasn't got lots of channels, but for a media room or small cinema room, I think the 2900 is perfect for that. And obviously, if you want more channels and it to do more, you can go up to the one above that. So
2900 is 5.1.2, so it's a nice little cinema system or little lounge system. And then the 3900 is a 5.1.4, so we'll give you a little bit more on your Atmos channels. And then I think what's quite good, and what I quite like about fundamentally what I quite like about the way that Dan will write it up, but also AWE do put on their website, where it does say, no, like, this will do an 11.4 system, so you can use these type of setups. So on a Sunday when you're sitting at home trying to do your quotes and you're thinking, oh, I need an amp to do a 5.1.4, what can I get away with, or what can I get budget wise that's going to be good, but allow me to spend a little bit more money here and a little bit more money there. I think Denon are really good for that, and they're quite easy to set up. They're quite easy to integrate with, and again, I'm going to regret saying this, but very rarely do I ever have any of them go wrong on me. I think I'm running one downstairs, which it might be a 6700. So it's the one I used to use at the exhibition. So what's that? That's 2 generations old. So it doesn't pass through 4K 120, which is annoying for my Xbox. But it if I want it to, it would support Atmos, and it's a great little amplifier. And apart from the occasional having to reboot, like you do with most electronics, it just works perfectly, which I'm really going to regret saying that when I go downstairs in a minute.
Probably it will break, but no. So they sound great. They work really well. They're really reliable. Obviously, you can upgrade to the Direct Live as well. So do all the bass management on there. That makes a massive difference. I know it's a little bit more money, but if you've got a dedicated room, it is worth upgrading that. Whether you do it as a freebie for the client or say incorporate that as part of your quotation. But the bass management on that is pretty impressive. The fact you've got the HEOS built in, which is, in my opinion, one of the best sort of multi-room aspects and systems out there. Nice and reliable. The app is really good and nice and intuitive for the client. And obviously now they can do those the wireless speakers that we spoke about in the last pod. I think that could make a massive difference as well. So yeah, no, for the money, That's what we quoted for that with the Hisense 100-inch TV, that and the 2900 for not bit shy of £5,000. That's not including speakers, obviously, but that's a really nice big system that you can get that sounds good for about 10K, I reckon.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's got here also gaming support hasn't been overlooked either. Expanded HDMI connectivity with 1440p pass through with AMD FreeSync compatibility. So even for us gamers, it's pretty good. So that's the main news. But also don't forget that you could pop over to the Inside CI website where we have loads of articles. We have loads of stories. There's something on there from Steve talking about the new Samsung TVs. In the news articles, we're talking about Moon has added some new power amp and network players to their Compass collection. Roku are releasing their first projector, which is a 1080p model. Dirac Live Room Correction lands on Blue Sound Power Node streaming amps. There's some new speakers from Wharfdale, and NAD or NAD brings Direct Live bass control to Blue OS amplifiers. So do pop over to insideci.co.uk and check out the news stories that almost pretty much go up every day, if not every other day. I do look at so the way it works is Steve, as the editor of the website, he does the editorials, he does the articles, he does the news, and then I handle the social media side of it and then the podcast and things like that. And quite often as I'm sort of getting in after a long day and I press the app on my phone to bring it up, I'm like, Steve's putting a new story up, and I'm like, right, okay, need to do the social media posts.
So I'm not sure there's always this much news, or just the fact that you're putting it out there more regularly for us all, which we all appreciate, and it looks great. But I was like, surely there can't be another pair of speakers or another new lot of telly or whatever Wolfdale's just come out of the woodwork kind of thing. But no, it's really good to be kept up to date, and doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you. And no, there is that much news. I have started getting so many press releases now, but obviously we are Inside CI, so I do get press releases sometimes for headphones. I got a press release from the European Space Agency yesterday, which is like, Okay, I quite enjoyed reading it, but it's not going up on the Inside CI website. So no, do obviously we release the newsletter every Monday morning or Tuesday morning if it's a bank holiday. So that's the easiest way to keep up to date. But you can find us on Inside CI. You can find us on all the social media platforms. I've even just created a Substack page as well to sort of, because Substack quite nicely allows you to put up articles and it goes straight into your inbox as well. So
Look at you.
So, but that's it. So that's it for the podcast for this week. I think we're just rolled over an hour, so I can edit that out properly. But Simon, so where can people find you on the interweb?
You can find Cinema Rooms Limited on Instagram and all the socials. We're on LinkedIn as well. I'm on there personally, and obviously Cinema Rooms. We've also got a YouTube account, so you can have a look on that. And obviously we've got a website which we regularly update on news and things like that. So yeah, you can find Cinema Rooms Limited that way.
Excellent. Well, for me personally, you can find me as at Mr. Stuart Burgess on most social medias. If you're a gamer and you fancy a bit of Call of Duty or a bit of Forza Horizon 6, my gaming tag is General Letdown on Xbox. And for Inside CI, just Google Inside CI, or if you're on social media, LinkedIn, generally we're Inside CI News. Or Inside CI, but do join up, keep up to date with the news, and we'll try and get some more podcasts. Do you know, I tried to do a solo podcast the other day.
Was it like talking to yourself, going a bit crazy?
Well, I just decided, because there is so much news,
yeah.
And obviously I don't want to put the burden on you having to do a podcast with me every week. Plus, also, when I'm not doing this podcast, I'm doing a gaming podcast. It just so happens this week I'm doing this one today, and then tomorrow we're doing a Xbox predictions podcast for this weekend for the showcase, which would be over now as you listen to this. So I just thought on the Sunday, the girls had gone out and I created this lovely background. This is not real, by the way. This is not my office. But I created this lovely background and I just sat here and I thought, right, I've got two things that are going on, because I thought what I'll do is I'll do like, welcome to the Inside CI weekly podcast, a quick cast type of thing, as someone else I listen to does. And I thought, right, what's going on this week? And about 5 news stories, just to keep it 20 minutes or so. 2.5 hours later, I decided, and like 1 or 2 news stories in, I decided, yeah, I don't like this and I look like an idiot. So at some point you might see a solo podcast from me, but not quite at the moment because I didn't like it.
So left to your own devices. Everybody knows you do like to talk, Stuart, but left to your own devices. How the heck did you carry on for 2.5 hours? I've no idea. But no, happy to do a podcast. It is great. And it goes down really well and everybody likes it, which is good.
Excellent. Well, look, thank you for not making me do a solo podcast today and making me have someone to talk to.
You're more than welcome. And on my birthday, unbelievable. I'm going to go off and celebrate and cheer on England.
10 p.m. in a few days, we're playing Croatia. So hopefully we'll get a good start.
Hopefully stay awake as well.
Yeah, this will probably be the first World Cup that I won't actually watch until about like 7 o'clock next morning when I get up.
You get up about 4 o'clock, so you'll probably watch it, no problem.
I go to bed about 9 o'clock and get up about 4 o'clock. So I'll just watch it before I go off.
Yeah, good idea.
But no, thank you for your time, Simon. And thank you for everybody who's watching or listening to this. As I say, please comment, give us your questions. On all the platforms, there's ways you can comment and get in touch with the podcast or leave a message and things like that. So please let us know where you're watching in the world. Please let us know if you have any questions. And thank you for listening.
Cheers, guys.